Can I ask you to take your shoes off?
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, because that's the name of the show.
Would you like some coffee? I do have a pot brewed.
Yeah, I'll take a little cup.
Cup of water for you as well?
Sure.
I'm going to frame you up, although it should be good. I got a tray for you there.
Okay, great.
Oh, lovely. I get to look at this. That's San Francisco, yeah. It is San Francisco.
No, that's New York.
No, it's not. That building, that
That's the
triangular-
Flatiron building. For sure.
I don't know if I agree with you. You're 1,000% on that. Huh. The Flatiron building. I'm going to Google this.
We'll put a picture up right now.
I'm sure you're right. It's hanging in your house. Flatiron building.
Please.
Weird name for it. I mean, I understand. I guess it's shaped like a flatiron. Mm-hmm. You do make a strong case.
Scoot doo,
Picture. Yeah, that really does.
babbity blue. Scoot dee. Oh yeah.
All right, I wonder if I can find you what I thought it was. Triangle building, San Francisco. You're doing all this editing and whatnot, and you're...
Yeah. And boy, are my arms tired.
Yeah. You know, so I watched a good chunk of the Bobby Lee one. And yeah, you're going in and you're putting up some reference pictures.
Yeah.
A lot of work, right?
Dax, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Triangle building, San Francisco. I mean, it's the exact same search I just did. I don't know why it would be different this time, but let's see. Trans America Pyramid. I don't know why it's not giving... Sorry for eating up
You're good. How's your
our
level?
valuable time, but I have to... Yeah, I'll be right in this motherfucker.
How are your headphones, though?
Oh, they're great.
Good.
Yeah. You're a little louder than I am for what that's worth, but...
That's kind of one
That's
of the
a
power
strategy,
moves
yeah.
of the podcast.
Triangle building, San Francisco. Talk. Oh, yeah, I just got louder. So now you could just turn down my overall volume a tiny bit. Francis Ford Coppola building. Yep. Okay, really not even similar, but a triangle nonetheless. There you go, Ricky.
Yeah, that's like. Do you know the book, the book you read before Christmas, with Santa and there's the Russian buildings? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the Nutcracker.
No.
Oh, isn't the Nutcracker though a Christmas Russian thing?
Yeah,
And
but
the Kremlin's involved somehow? Or
I think all of the Christmas stuff is originally Santa's Russian. Before he moved,
I thought he was
his parents
Finnish.
His parents are Russian.
Oh, his parents are. Okay.
And there's the one that's like the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse.
Right.
On page 8, there's that building.
Oh, really?
But there's that architecture.
Okay, but even more Kremlin-y? Well, now I'm really low. Would you stop fine-tuning? Oh.
No, I'm raising you up all the way now.
Okay.
You were
okay.
peaking.
It's probably because I talk much closer to the microphone. That's how I save my voice on my show, which, by the way, I'm just stealing from Howard. You notice over the years, Howard's whole sound has changed.
I've heard 20 episodes of Howard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's shocking to me. I feel like you would love him.
I do. I like him a lot. That's actually not true. I watched a ton when it was on E when I was in high school.
Oh, right,
But
right.
listening to it, I haven't in years.
You don't have XM radio or Sirius?
I don't.
Uh-huh.
I've been instructed many times outside of this podcast. My brother just got me the Howard Stern book. Also, but before we get into it, I want to make sure that we're all happy here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm delighted.
Your volume's okay?
Yeah, everything's great.
Compared to mine?
Yeah. You're still a little louder, but I don't care. No, stop.
I assure you that the mix will come out perfect.
Yeah, no, back to, did you read Christmas books at home growing up?
My mom reads me that book.
Currently?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we FaceTime still.
Oh, okay. Were you the type of Jewish family that had a Christmas tree?
We're the type of Jewish family that decorates every holiday, but it isn't like we don't go and cut down the tree. There's like a little fake tree that my mom has in the basement for Christmas time.
Right.
We did get stockings.
Oh, great. Right.
And Christmas was when everyone was off work and when family came to town. So Hanukkah, you got a gift. You got 8, but like 7 of them were batteries for the 8th night.
Right.
On Christmas is when you got the shoes and the stuff,
Yeah, I think growing up, we were envious of the 8 days or however many days of gifts there are.
We being your family or the Christians?
The Gentiles.
Yes.
Gentile children. I doubt the adults were jealous. But the Gentile children were like, wait, you guys have 8 Christmas days? And then it was exposed that they're very lackluster presents, right? They're just little trinkets and tchotchkes.
You get a gift.
Yeah.
You get a gift and then you get...
It's not the explosion that is the Gentile.
When you go downstairs for Christmas, it's I mean, literally piles of gifts.
There was a period where I had a stepbrother and stepsister.
That's gonna give
You're
me a
nervous
panic
about
attack.
that. Yeah, okay. I gotta always be conscious of your OCD while we're together. But when I had a stepbrother and sister, there was a couple Christmases where there were 5 children, and by God, you couldn't get to the fucking tree. Like it was, and we weren't, rolling in money or anything. It was like a lower middle class, but still, yeah, it'd be 15 feet of presents.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
We had both.
It just occurred to me that I guess they had to make the decision: should we stack all these up at risk of covering the tree? Or should we lay them all out on the ground and then make it really hard to get to the tree?
I always thought that you had about 2 presents worth of I'm going to call it a stem, but a trunk.
Okay.
Where you could stack a little bit and then you kind of cascade down. That's how I see it. In
a little
pictures.
transition. Yeah, when they design a Christmas scene in a show or a movie, they really
That's my
skillfully-
experience.
Yeah, yeah. So like Ricky, I'm much older than you. So you never watched Silver Spoons, did you?
No.
Okay. Well, that was the apex of the Christmas experience because Ricky was rich. Ricky Schroeder, okay, on Silver Spoons, and his stocking was the size of him. He had a human-sized stocking. He also had a train that ran through his living room.
Yep.
And so that was the Christmas you really wanted.
Is that what you compared yours to?
Yes, and it never really measured up, as you would expect.
Look at you now.
Although I will say, in my mother's defense, always dead broke, but she pulled it out for Christmas. We always had good Christmases, even though she went into debt for them.
I find that getting married and having children on Christmas has a similar thing, which is we're spending money that we don't need to be on a wedding ring that could be going to better stuff, but we have the sentiment toward it.
Yeah.
And that's where the Jews have it figured out. I'm going to give you what you need, a Game Boy.
Oh, right.
And then
yes,
you'll get the games. You're going to take care of everything else.
Yeah. No person can play with more than one thing at one time anyways.
Also, when you have 9 gifts and you open one, give me this.
Yeah. And then, yes, you're absolutely right.
Which is fun.
Yeah. But now, do you think there is a kind of subtext to it, which is, of course, it's obnoxious. Of course, it's irresponsible. And that's actually the point of it.
Yes. I don't think that's subtext. I think that's...
Well, I kind of... Is it not?
I think that's built in.
I guess it's like when if you go even into like hunting and gathering cultures, when they had a wedding or something, they had the pig, they killed the pig. Like this thing was gonna, they were saving, and it's a huge extravagance, basically to signify how important that day is. I agree with you
I'm not
that
following. They're eating the pig. What are you talking about?
Well, but they don't eat pig normally. It's a very excessive celebration to make a point of, wow, this is really irresponsible. We would never live like this all the time, but this is such a joyous occasion.
Why is it irresponsible to kill the pig? Which, by the way, I don't like killing pigs, but
neither of us are taking a stand on whether it's good or bad to kill a pig. But because you only have 1 or 2, so if you kill the one, it's not like they had.
Oh, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like they had.
I'm thinking they're hunting pigs. I'm thinking there's pigs in the fields.
Even in that case, right? Maybe they do. They send out guys for 9 days straight because they got to get a pig for this wedding.
Yeah.
And then it's just kind of this, like, this is intentionally exuberant and excessive to signify how important this thing is. Now, I don't think you'll get me on record saying that the birth of Jesus warrants that.
But if I were, look into Cameron, what would it sound like?
I would say that we intentionally go big to celebrate the birth of Jesus. Was that what you were hoping to hear?
To be honest with you,
yeah.
I'm as present as I am here with you.
Yeah.
I don't have any opinions on this, really.
On Christmas in general, or Jesus.
On the pigs.
Okay.
After we talked about the cascade of the presents from the tree.
Yes. You were out. Well, I do expect that this will very shortly turn into a conversation that neither of us understand, because that seems to be the pattern by which we communicate.
Is that true?
Like, do you recall visiting me at Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
And we were I don't even know what we were talking about because we weren't talking about the same thing. But you stopped in my office, and then my then assistant observed us talking, and she was like, so this is a whole bit you guys do? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't think he knows. And it is entertaining, but I don't think, we were.
I took something big out of that. I think about it all the time.
Which was?
I was recycling something. It was a bag with some foil or whatever. And I threw it in the recycle. And you said, that doesn't go in there. And I said, it's plastic. And you said, I think you give the recycling process a little too much credit. And that blew my, because up until that point, it's just like, yeah, you put it in here and all the planet's good.
Yes,
and it's like,
yes,
what
yes,
am
yes.
I doing?
Yeah. You have to then envision what machine this is that's doing all this.
I
Because there's
since
no
looked into
human doing it. Well, not only, what we have found out since you and I had that conversation is that we don't even use that plastic. It doesn't get used. We were selling it to China. They were taking all of our used plastic
sending it back.
and they're done with it.
Yeah.
So now
We're
the whole
fucked.
thing was kind of a hoax. Recycling of plastic. So yeah, now there are some companies that are repurposing plastic water bottles, making shoes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I should remember the name of it because they're a sponsor. But yeah, they're
Are they?
make some yeah. What is it? Doesn't matter.
When you're done, you'll send me a voice note, and I'll VO it. So
Great.
So right now, if you could just say, "Oh, I remember what it was," and then just lip something.
Great. I remember what it was. It's
You have to move your mouth though.
Oh, okay, great.
I can
Okay,
take the
great.
audio out.
Yeah, that's smart. Oh, of course, I remember what it was. It's Rothy's.
Oh, yeah. They're fucking amazing.
Oh my god, I just remembered in real life. It's Rothy's.
I'll just use that Rothy's.
Something about going like this. I was like, that's too many syllables. I know it's not multiple syllables. And then I was like, it is only a couple. What is? And then I got it. So, how long have you lived in this apartment?
2012.
Okay, so 7 years.
I'm ready to leave.
Are you?
Oh yeah.
Now, this gives me really good memories because I don't know if you know, but I lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Santa Monica long after I needed to. I have a lot of funny fear over money.
I want to stay present with you. I forgot to warn you. Every 10 minutes or so, I look to make sure things are still going because I'm a one-man show here, and I don't want that to get in. So, but I'm going to probably do that 4 more times.
But let me ask you something. Why would it stop?
It has.
It has. And what caused the stop? The card was full?
One time the card was full. I've
You learned
fooled
that
me
lesson
twice,
though, right?
And then
Yeah.
and then one time it just stopped.
Well, they have power. How
I
hard
plugged them
line?
in, so
Okay.
that isn't an issue.
And you know the cards they were empty when you put them in.
Yeah. So here's a better answer for you.
Okay, great.
It's gonna work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When I think to myself, I can't be with you until I'm sure of it.
Right.
So it's not even checking the battery; it's just checking myself to be here with you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Will you at any point check to see if the door's locked?
I've done that. Okay. What made you ask that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just all like OCD stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Dude,
do you have an incredible
There's
memory?
only so much. I have a good memory.
Right?
Yeah.
Those two things are related.
Retention.
I don't know if I'd call it retention. I watched this 60 Minutes on people with super memory. And the woman actress from Taxi is one of the people that has it. I forget her name.
She knows what day of everything was.
You
I've
can
seen
go, November 1st, 79. She'll go, it was raining, and my mom made me lunch, and then
Wednesday.
we went for a walk. Right. And they do this throughout, and then they go and fact check it, and they're right. And then they interview these other 15 people that have the same thing. And then what they found was that they all have really intense OCD. So Mary, that actress.
Obviously, we don't have it.
Yeah. Well, but you may never have known it. I knew it at one point, so it's more of an embarrassment for me. You may have never known it.
Yeah, I don't think I ever knew
They
it.
go into her closet, and it is the most organized. I mean, maniacal organization.
I'd love to show you my closet.
Is it crazy?
It's crazy when it's not that, in my opinion.
Right. So I guess you go like, well, I got OCD. That's inconvenient, but I got this great memory. You probably wouldn't trade. You wouldn't trade the OCD for a shittier memory, would you?
No.
Right?
I don't. I mean, just out of fear of messing up the equilibrium, I don't think I'd trade anything.
Yeah, I am very similar. Like I've come to think of addiction as something it's like a suite of behaviors, and there's a lot of upside to it.
Yeah.
So if you can minimize the downside,
Yeah.
lean in, double down on the good stuff.
What we're talking about right now is
Yeah.
getting me so excited, but I don't want to lean too much into it because there's so much.
Okay.
So let me first tell you why I'm so excited.
Okay.
I have you here.
Uh-huh.
Right
Yeah.
now,
I'm in your apartment.
This is.
You didn't let me finish. By the way, I love this. I fantasize often about just being back in that one-bedroom apartment. Let me just tell you why.
Yeah, it's romantic.
There are so many upsides of having a house, and it's great, and I love it, obviously. But you have no fucking worries in here. The toilet breaks, you call the dude. The dude sends someone. That's that. You haven't mowed this lawn. You haven't dealt with a broken sewer main. This is so manageable.
a worry is just perception. And for you, those aren't worries. For me, I got to be here so he doesn't steal something. He's disgusting and he doesn't take his shoes off.
Okay.
These are worries. Now, you have kids and you have real worries, but also I don't have kids. What a worry.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying.
Sure.
But
there is a simplicity to living in a building that you're not responsible for.
I have thought if when I get to a point and I could do something that I want to do, a nice home.
Yeah.
Is a house what I want versus like a cool like condo in New York with a door guy and everything, so I don't have to worry about any of that.
Or you can even do that in LA, like those mid-Wilshire buildings. You could live in one of those tall buildings.
There's something cool about that.
I can see where people like it's not for me.
I wouldn't do it.
Just the fact that every time I come home, I'm potentially going to have an awkward interaction with someone in an elevator. Like I'm finally home, I'm finally ready to relax, and now I'm going to interact with. I wouldn't, even if I wasn't a celebrity. I feel this great obligation in an elevator to break that silence, to make it, to alleviate the awkwardness, and I just take that on. That's going to be my role, and I find it exhausting, and I'd rather not do it.
I think this is a positive trait, so I don't mean to seem to call you out.
Okay.
But is that thing in you needing to be a host, similar to how when you're coming here, it's like you're asking the questions, which by the way I love and keep asking. I've always wanted to be on your podcast.
Sure.
Here's my opportunity.
Here we go.
But is that what it is?
Double release it.
Like, do you host?
I feel like the role I picked growing up was no one's going to tell Dad that he's an asshole. I'll be the one.
Because nobody's going to.
Because no one's going to do it. I'll do it. Or I'll say the thing everyone wants said that no one wants to do it. Like I'll volunteer for that. What do they say in Hunger Games?
I'll do it.
Yeah, that's right. They go. It was so cinematic too. She goes, I'll do it. Huh? I'll do it. Okay. Tribute.
Yes.
I'll be tribute. So I also think like, again, the suite of personality, the suite of attributes I have, like one is I'm too aggressive sometimes. There's a bunch of ugly stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But maybe the upside is like, oh, here's us three people. We're all feeling painfully awkward. And I have this willingness to like confront it and put everyone at ease. Mm-hmm. So,
and you're projecting that they feel that awkwardness too.
Yes, obviously. I'm assuming if I feel that awkward, they do too. But I think there is some consensus that everyone feels awkward in an elevator. Do you?
I don't. Probably. I've never taken that consensus nor researched it. I will say that over the past few years, what I've really been leaning into is the better understanding, at least logically, because emotionally, I still I have to check myself that other people aren't feeling what I'm feeling.
Oh,
maybe.
Right.
But I am putting that on them. And a lot of times I feel that when we do feel that is the case, it only is if they are also projecting those things. Does that make sense? So if I'm in an elevator with a person who is just living their own life, maybe they're uncomfortable, but there's a better chance they're not if they're not worried about what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. I can't control what they're thinking.
So you're saying it's like a self-fulfilling kind of neuroses. Like you infect the other person and then
we don't infect the other person. We exaggerate it. We assume it by definition. Like we're putting that in their minds. Yeah. But understanding that we're all projecting, really me, but all of us, understanding that, and I can't control what I'm thinking, let alone what you're thinking.
Yes.
When I have a better understanding of I need to control everything. When I can't, then the weight's off.
Right.
So that idea that I can't control what they're thinking, if they're uncomfortable, if they're happy, if they're horny, preferably, that's on them.
Yeah.
I've gotten better at needing to do that thing that you do that, let me cut the tension. Let me do the thing that no one's going to say.
Right.
And it's
maybe they don't like it.
I mean, it depends if you do it well. You do it great.
Sure.
If I'm in an elevator.
Most times it's gone wrong for sure.
Do you have an elevator wrong story?
Oh, yeah, I have a big time one, which is, and I've said this before, so I'm not like, if you think I'm a bad husband for doing this, but my wife will fart in public around me because she wisely knows everyone will think it's me. It's a genius strategy. She does it on airplanes. She didn't give a fuck. She's like, they're going to think it's you. So we got in an elevator, and I knew she had some gas, and I said to her, if you fart in this elevator and someone gets in, I'm going to tell them it's you. And she goes, okay. So she tooted in the elevator, hit the ground floor. 2 women are getting on. And I say, as we're crossing, that smells not me, that's her. And then I thought, oh, I got her, right? But then as I looked at their faces, what I realized is it was a double win for Kristen because they thought, well, not only did that guy fart in the fucking elevator, he then blamed it on his cute wife. So it was a double lose for me.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's one.
You told that made me think of a story you told. I don't know what. Maybe it was on the one of the Kristen episodes. When you guys were in a fight, you were late for the movie, and you hit the pigeons.
Yes.
And you said, up through my life, every time I have been in this situation, the patterns have taught me that those pigeons will get out of the way.
More in my world, people have many times said, yeah, you can't even hit a pigeon. Like, even if you desired to go kill some pigeons on the road, they always get out of the way.
Sure.
Everyone knows that. And so I did not lift off the gas, and I fucking mowed down some, and I immediately was like, you're a monster.
I'm picturing you in the Justin Bieber movie now. Just
going like, okay, so well, she's moving out. And I convinced her to sell her house, so I'm gonna have to I owe her something. Yeah, I was definitely. This is the guy.
How did you submit to her after that?
Well, I'm smart enough to just shut up. You know, because if I launch into like, hon, you're not supposed to be able to hit him. You know, if I started defending myself, what she really wanted to see was like, I know I fucked up big time. I'm in trouble. I acknowledge it. And that was stupid. And I better do that through silence than defending myself. And then throughout that movie, which is a beautiful movie and got us all back into a good uplifting vibe, she said, when we left, you got to return to the scene and make sure none of those pigeons are still suffering. And if they are, you have to kill them. And I was like, oh my God. The first event was already horrific. Hearing like, as you drive through the herd of pigeons or the gaggle or whatever they're called.
It's a herd.
It's a herd, okay. And then the notion that I'm now going to be on that scene and see one of them doing something, and now I'm going to, I don't know, step on it or pick it up and choke it, pick it up and break its neck. None of those things am I qualified to do. But I will do it to save my relationship. Like, I'll do the ugly business if necessary. And luckily, when we got there, none were.
Within the 3 hours, they all bled out already?
Well, after the fact, I did think, like, why was I so scared? There's no way one would be almost dead for 2.5, 3 hours. Even if that was the case when we left, there's no way 3 hours. Like, if they're still alive 3 hours, they're going to make it maybe. And I shouldn't kill them. I should probably give them some water.
Are these
or
thoughts you're
something.
driving over there?
Yes. But just again, total relief that I didn't have to deal with it.
If only we got them water.
Okay, now back to you're excited and you don't want to go there yet.
Well, it didn't matter. What I was thinking is this OCD thing, because I heard you talk about it once on a podcast, and I didn't know, maybe with Forte, I didn't know that you had that
As a kid.
Yeah, and you've released a lot of it, you've said.
I had tics. I had horrendous tics, all-consuming tics that I thought I was hiding from people. And so one of the things I used to do kind of compulsively in junior high was I hated the feeling of my fingertips being dry. So I would, like, when no one was looking, I was just go. And I just kind of touched the tips of my fingertips onto the tips of my, I'm saying tips so much, tongue. And I just kind of dab, just get a little moisture there.
Sure.
And then I'd feel better, and I could put that to bed for 20 minutes. And one time my little sister was in the back seat, and she's 6.5 years younger than me. And I was like, oh, yeah, did my little thing. And she goes, ugh, would you stop licking your fingers? And I was like, I don't lick my fingers. And there's so many things I thought no one knew about that people knew about. That was the tamest of them. I had to do everything twice. No matter what I did, it had to be even, and it had escalated to the point where I had to be naked to take a shit. So I was naked taking a shit. I also have to
public bathrooms.
I avoided them like the plague, but I do have one terrible story where I was forced to use a public bathroom. But let me just first say I would squat on the toilet with my feet on the seat, and I would be bare naked, and then I would poop, which took forever for whatever reason. And then I would take the toilet paper roll, which was on the wall, and then I'd have to get up, string it out to the door, open the door, touch the hallway wall, and then come back. But I'm naked, so I have to, like, make sure no one in my house is going to see this. And then I shut the door and I come back in. But now I've got to do that twice because I have to do everything twice. So then I go back out to the hallway, shut the door, and now I have so much toilet paper. It's totally unnecessary. I feel guilty about how much I'm using. I can't put it back on the roll. It took me 45 minutes to take a dump. So one time, we'd gone to Cedar Point in your neck of the woods in Sandusky, and we were there all day long. And then we left, and it was with my first stepdad, who I did not care for, my sister's father, and I just couldn't hold it anymore. I had held it all day long, and we stopped at Pizza Hut to eat before we drove back to Michigan. And I went into the Pizza Hut bathroom, and I took off all my clothes. I was naked in
Where
the
do you
stall.
put your clothes? You could let them
That's
touch
a
the
great
floor?
question. No, I'm sticking them on like the toilet paper holder thing, and I wasn't letting them hit the ground, nor do I completely remember where I was hanging them. But I got nude, and I'm in a public bathroom, so I feel very vulnerable, and I'm standing on the seat as I do, and there's other stalls. I can hear people coming and going. It's so stressful.
Barefoot on the seat.
Yeah, barefoot on the seat.
Toilet paper on the seat.
No, just feet on the toilet seat.
Is your butt and feet on the toilet, or are you
no,
standing
no,
on the
no,
toilet
no.
seat?
I go like this.
So you're squatting, but instead of squatting on the floor, you're squatting higher on the seat.
I was later vindicated, as I just saw. People have squatty potties
Yeah.
now. I was onto something.
Yes.
I just knew intuitively at a young age that I should be squatting. But at any rate, I'm in there. I already feel so vulnerable. And then I hear, and I freeze. And I'm like, yeah. And it's my stepdad. And he goes, you better not be doing what I think you're doing. Now in retrospect, at my age,
You thought
I don't
you were
think
jerking
he
off.
thought I was masturbating, maybe. But regardless, I was bare naked being yelled at on the toilet.
in a Pizza Hut.
It was horrific. Yeah, real bad memory. Do you know, really quick, I feel like our OCD thing is different. And it's probably too generic to label them both as OCD. But mine came about, which I didn't realize until much later, nearly the day that stepdad arrived in my life.
There's a sense of control for you.
Yes, which of
That's
course,
what it all is. I
Yeah,
think.
and I had no concept of
course.
that. It wasn't until I was talking to an actress who tears her eyelashes out, which is an OCD thing. And she's like, oh yeah, I tear my eyelashes out because OCD. And I said, oh, I had OCD when I was a kid, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, she just assumed I would know that, as everyone does know it. She's like, well, it's to control your something in your life.
Yeah.
And then I went back in time and I was like, when did I start doing all that shit? And then it was when that stepdad arrived.
It's the same thing.
It is.
It wasn't always twice, but it was even.
Scuffing your shoe.
Yeah, but it was also the problem was when it involved other people. So if you walk past me and touch my knee, I would have to touch you, but I can't just poke you. I have to. Oh, never mind. I thought those were different pants.
Right.
And then it was nonstop, and I'm always calculating that, but it's with everything. So if I brush up against something, I have to touch it again. If I go around a pole,
Yeah.
almost there's a string to me. I have to go around or out that same door.
This might be the foundation for us acting. Because that's really the first time you're like, you're full of shit. You don't need to grab that piece of material.
Oh,
but
you're saying why we were doing it.
Yeah, and you're like convincing someone that this is, oh, wow, I thought these were cuffed. They're not cuffed.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably your first experimenting with straight
Maybe.
up acting. I don't know.
But
Not
it was
that either of us are such serious actors that we need to track down the root
We'll
of
get
our
into it.
thespianism.
We'll get into it, and I've texted you multiple times about it. I finished Parenthood this past weekend.
And you had never seen
I'd never
it.
seen it. I want to find a way of offering something that's simple enough for it to be easy for you to say thank you,
Yeah,
but
it's so
also
hard for me.
honest enough to express what I'm talking about. But my mouth I'm almost getting watery-eyed telling you this right now. In fact,
Okay.
I probably will, and we're safe.
Okay.
Mouth open, watching you. The show's
Really?
amazing.
Yeah, it's a great show.
I also don't know how to remove the bias that I have towards you, that you are I don't know if you can be what I think you are. If you are, then thanks for coming over. But I mean, and I know you as this just alpha, cool, kind, smart, understanding person, but I've never seen, like, that's just interpersonally. When your work is hilarious, but it's hilarious. You're just, what I love to
buffoon.
do.
Yeah.
And then I'm watching this, and I mean, I gotta not do your reaction shots. I've rewound.
Really?
Rewound.
Oh my goodness.
I was at home for a couple weeks, and I wanted my parents to watch it for many reasons. One of which, I love the Max storyline and the autism with the parents and the acceptance and the understanding. And do you remember when I was a kid and some of these things that I was doing? And
Did they relate a ton to it?
I don't know.
Okay.
They liked it a lot.
Right.
But
they didn't feel like Christina and Adam Braverman.
well, I only got through a few episodes of season 2 with them.
Okay.
So we
started
touched
them
on
off
it.
season
I
2?
started no. Yeah, we only watched season 2,
We watched
2 and
episode
3.
6 of 3 and 13 of 5.
I just love the way you responded when they said, whatever.
Well, I want 2 things. I want for you to think I'm a great actor. Like I deeply desire that. And yet, when you give me a compliment, what goes through my head, and I wonder if you have this too, is if I go like, "Oh my God, thank you," does that mean I think I'm a great actor, and of course I can take that compliment?
Ooh, could I respond to this?
Yeah.
Okay. Something else happened. Oh, so let me get this out first. I'm all over the place.
Okay,
Coffee's kicking in, and
good.
just the connection here. I still want to tell you more of my things as a kid. And I think the reason is because I want you to feel connected with me. And that reason feels superficial as opposed to like, this is good stuff to talk about.
Sure.
So I'm going to put that aside and maybe organically that'll come up. I just want to tell you the feeling.
Okay, yeah, sure.
As far as how you feel about you being a good actor, here's what it is. It's a simple fix. We'll turn the cameras. Turn the cameras off. Between you and me.
Turn the camera. Oh, they're off. Okay.
Between you and me, do you think you're a good
I'm so
actor?
glad these cameras are off now. Now I can. Do I think I'm a good actor? Yes. Do I think I'm a great actor?
I didn't ask you. No one's a great actor.
Right. Well, there's a few really great actors.
Name one.
Christian Bale.
Sucks.
Oh,
Good. You know what? Good. You know what he is? Great roles.
oh, sure. Yeah, either of us could have done Vice just as well. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I mean, I literally 5 seconds in, I'm like, I forgot that I wasn't watching Dick Cheney.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people in the NBA that aren't LeBron.
There are. This is my argument,
And they're very confident.
yeah.
You've made this argument?
I make it all the time. I try to tell other
About
actors.
NBA?
Yes, always. I go, don't get so distracted that you're not Michael Jordan. Recognize you're in the NBA.
Yeah.
What a fucking accomplishment.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Michael Jordan. If you're Scottie Pippen, what an accomplishment.
Yeah.
But it's very easy to just think, I got to be Michael Jordan or I got to be Christian Bale. And then you could miss the whole experience of having been in the NBA. We have the same analogy.
I do think I'm Michael Jordan.
You do?
I do.
That's fair. That's fair.
And whether or not
What's our age difference?
I'm 35, you're 42?
4. So
44.
9 years older than you. I guess I was just starting at your age to stop even evaluating that. I was still doing it.
I don't want to stop. Whether or not it's true there's no downside to it. I think we are our best selves. Let me not globalize this.
Okay.
I'm my best when I believe in what I'm doing.
When you feel confident.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
So why not be that?
I'll tell you from my point of view why not. You must have watched the Kobe Bryant documentary on Showtime.
Did I? I don't remember.
How could you of all people have not
Was it
watched
an
that?
interview with him?
It was a 2-hour documentary.
I don't know if I have.
And they go into the whole like when he became Black Mamba and stuff and
Okay.
it's his whole career.
Yeah.
Okay, well here was my conclusion after watching that.
Yep.
I go out to eat with one of my best friends, Andrew Panay, who you've met, short little Greek guy. He saw it and I had seen it. And he's like, "Oh my God, you see the Kobe documentary?" I'm like, yeah. And he's like, "Ugh, isn't it like, man, if you want to win, like that's the mindset you have to have. If you want to win, you got to double dedicate, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, it's interesting that was your walk away or takeaway from that was you got to be that dedicated to win. My takeaway was, what a price you fucking pay and why pay it? So we can go, Kobe's the best?
What's the price
Oh
to
my
pay?
fucking God. That you didn't get along with any of your teammates. You
What does that
never
have to do
had
with-
fun.
Well, how is that and confidence synonymous?
Hold on, let me just finish.
No.
He didn't get along with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
He was virtually miserable in pursuit of being great. And what is being great? Great is literally your ego. That's all it is. Great. It's a word. I'm great. Now Shaq on the same team got the same rings, cutting up, having a blast, not working as hard as Kobe, not conditioning as hard as Kobe. Enjoyed himself.
Well, wasn't Shaq great?
His pursuit. What's that?
But Shaq was great.
He was great, but he wasn't the greatest he could be, and he wasn't the greatest because he didn't. There's no way you can compare the dedication of Michael Jordan and Kobe and Shaq. There's no way you can make that case. You just look at their conditioning.
Okay.
So, whose life do I want? I want shacks. I want to get along with everyone.
Yeah.
I don't want to be evaluating whether I'm great or not, because that's such a bullshit mental construct of what is great.
With your analogy, then I'm not Michael Jordan. I'm Shaq. I do not have good work ethic. I do not.
Yes, you do. You're doing all this stuff, and you're, as I said, you're putting the images on later. You're editing. You're taking a lot of time doing it. It's not the lazy version of doing this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have,
what I'm saying is, I don't think having the moniker of great is worth the price you have to pay to be great. I just don't. I think that's a silly, ego-based assessment of an outcome instead of the experience.
That's great.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the same as confidence.
I don't either. But you said I think I'm Michael Jordan.
Yeah, maybe I was being a little romantic.
Okay.
Then.
And I'm just saying, if you have the goal of being Michael Jordan, I think it's going to be a less fun ride.
Yeah, well, I guess Michael Jordan was the best at what everybody does. And my feeling is I'm the best at what I do. And there's no downside to that. And I don't even know if that's true. I just know I can't do certain things if I don't feel like, watch this.
See, I'm with you. I think I'm striving to be the best I can be.
Right.
But I don't, it ends there. I'm not then evaluating where that landed on the landscape of who's spectacular at comedy and all that kind of stuff. Because I just think
that'll kill me.
Yeah. Nor is anyone after the day you die going to evaluate like, oh, Rick, we miss him. He was better than Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
That just won't be in the conversation.
Sure.
But in my mind, it is.
I now get what you're saying, and this is in a comparison point of view. Like
Yes,
the greatest
yes.
compared to people who aren't as great, and that makes sense.
Intrinsically in the word greatest, it implies it's over something else.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm backtracking, but I really believe my intention, at least at the moment, is I meant like the best I could be.
Yeah, and I think that's a very esteemable endeavor. I think people should be trying to be the best they can be, but in no relation to anyone else.
Yeah. Then I would
only in relation to previous versions
Yeah.
of Rick.
I
Do
want
you
to.
prefer Ricky or Rick?
I don't want to say the answer on the podcast.
okay.
I told my mom this the other day.
Okay. You know why I came on to Ricky is because I met you through Jackie, and she was your boyfriend.
The other way.
Yeah. You were her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And of course she called you Ricky because it's cute.
I don't want to answer this on here.
Yeah,
but
don't do it.
But
Don't
I
do
love
it.
what you call me.
Hold on, I'm going to turn the cameras off.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. You can
I
answer.
have the littlest penis.
Okay.
Let me turn it back on.
I come in like under a second. Can we talk about coming really quick?
For a moment, you mean, or for a while about the act of coming fast?
Both. And I've decided I'm gonna have this evolutionary biologist back on my show so I can ask him about this. I watch a lot of nature shows with the kids, and what becomes incredibly obvious when you're watching animals mate in the wild is that they all come in a second. There's like this fucking 9-minute
it's
courting
the utility
thing,
of it.
and then they get in there. The bird gets in there, and it's over immediately. And then I think, well, that makes perfect evolutionary sense. Because the longer you're fucking and distracted by that, you're going to get killed by another animal, by a predator or a rival.
This is what I've been telling every woman that comes over.
Well, what I'm wondering is, how did we even evolve to get to a point where we can last 5 minutes? It's so counter-evolutionary. It's so dangerous for us to be engaged in coitus absent-mindedly.
Would you say maybe it's the concept of self and that it's I think a lot of times when you want to last a certain way or do the move, it's so they think something about me.
1,000%. I'm only lasting as long as I can so that they'll think I'm a great lover, and I'll have that approval.
But if I'm never seeing this bird again, and also we don't even speak in a language where we could talk to each other to say, how was it?
Right.
Then it's just like,
but I don't think a baboon's biology would even permit it to go over a minute. Even if it wanted very desperately for the approval of the female. So I just wonder how this could have even evolved in it. I think we're the only species that lasts more than 5 seconds. And how did that come about? How was that rewarded?
How is it rewarded?
How was it rewarded in fecundity rate so that you could spread your genes more?
Because of communication.
Because women would tell other women, like,
Yes.
this motherfucker was in there for 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I want to try that.
If women couldn't talk to each other,
it would have never happened.
it would have never happened.
Yeah. Well, that's also, let's hope that was the case, because that's giving the notion that women had a ton of say in it all, which I hope is true. They do say hunting and gathering societies were more egalitarian.
They say what?
hunting and gathering societies were more egalitarian.
Yeah, that's actually a good shirt I might make up.
It's a really good shirt. It's a real conversation starter. You wouldn't even have to say anything in the elevator anymore. You just have the shirt on. Everyone like look at it and they go, tension broken. Everyone's happy. What floor? Oh, this shit. I missed my floor. I was supposed to get up at 5, but I saw your shirt and I thought I'll just stay. He might turn around. There's another shirt on the back. Or maybe they would stay in the elevator so they could watch you exit because there might be a message on the back.
But
of
on the
shirt.
other hand, women speaking about sex isn't the only thing that makes it whatever.
That's what it would say on the back. And then people would be like, I'm so glad I stuck around in this elevator.
If there was a budget for this show and I felt comfortable asking you for another favor, I would say, let's film that sketch. And we'll cut to it.
Right. Yeah, we could try a million different shirts and see what, although it's hard for a control group. I guess you'd have to ride the elevator with the same person.
I have a shirt that I'm not going to make, but I had an idea of a shirt that...
Do you want me to turn off the camera so no one takes this idea?
Would you mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you're good. Yeah,
Also, I don't just mean a little penis. I mean, it's a micro penis.
Okay.
It's actually...
like you're never sure if you even get past the menorah.
What was the menorah?
The labia majora menorah.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't.
Oh, okay. Oh, you are sure. Okay, great.
All right,
well,
let
that
me turn
takes
these
away the
cameras back
anxiety.
on. Also,
Okay.
I don't know why I was whispering during
Okay.
this. Okay.
All right, go. Your shirt you want to make.
Yeah. It just says, fine, how are you?
Oh, okay.
Because I cannot, when people ask me, how are you? How was your weekend?
Yeah.
Up until I was 30, what do you want to know?
You thought they needed a literal answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want? And I'm like, when I ate?
Right. Because is that one of the aspects of being autistic is that everything's so literal?
I don't think
is
it's
it
as
like
simple
a
as that.
It's not as simple as that.
Yes, that is. And my understanding
Is that
of
to say that you have do you have a hard time with metaphors in general?
at its inception, I have since begun to understand them so much so that I'm super sensitive to them, that I love them and I like to deconstruct them in a way that hasn't even necessarily been established. I think I've overcompensated for that.
Okay.
However, I would ask, I've talked about this on a podcast before, but there was a time that when you were squinting and nodding at me, I would ask why you're squinting. And squinting just is to feel or to show an interest or disgust if you're squinting and leaning back.
Right.
But once I have that, similar to what we were talking about, at least I was talking about retention, I get it now. Or at least I could deduce fairly accurately.
Right.
So, but and that's the logical side. There's still that side, because when someone says, "How you been, man?" It's a combination of things. What are you doing? You're okay. They're connecting with me. They're wanting me to connect with them. This is the way they do it. I don't do it that way. Do I want to be honest and tell them how I connect, or do I want to be easy and connect with them simple? All this is happening in a way where I just have learned, good, how are you?
Right.
And then if they keep going, then I could just
tell them.
I have an agent that when I went to the agency, and like you have a team and they meet you in a room and there's a few hellos.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like the how you been's and I saw your Instagram of blah, blah, blah. It's fucking hysterical. It's like, okay.
Right.
So the first agent gets there. He says, "Hey man, how you doing?" Very connected.
Yeah.
Eyebrows up, chin up.
Like you're just recently over something.
It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It's amazing that I pulled through this.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
just he's.
Oh, Ricky,
Yeah.
man. Great to see you.
It was the tone that
You doing good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hand would be on a shoulder. I said, "Good, man. How are you?" He said, "Good, thanks. How you doing?"
Oh, boy.
And I said, "I'm good." I didn't ask again. It didn't matter. He said, "Good, man. Good." Now we walk into the room. Now we're in a new room. He felt the need to say, "How you been, man?" I said, "Good, man. How are you?" He said, "I'm good." Right? And then when other people come in and how you doing? And then he to me again, "How you doing?" I said, "You asked me that 5 times."
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. This reminds me of one of my very favorite bits on the Stern Show, which is Richard. He's from the South, and it occurred to him that people in the South can have a 20-minute conversation saying, "How you doing?" And to demonstrate this, he would just call random numbers in the phone book, and he calls this old woman, and he's like, "Hi there, Gable, how you doing?" She goes, "Good, good." He goes, "Good, good. So you're doing good?" "Yeah." "How about everything else? Everything good?" And this goes on for 2 minutes until he finally he hangs up, and then another guy calls the same woman. And now it's his brother. He's like, "Heard you just talked to Richard. Yeah, how's he doing?" "He's doing good." "Yeah, he's doing good." "Good. And how you doing?" And it just never ends.
These people don't know who Richard is, though.
No, this is a stranger who
So
picked
they're
up their
okay with it.
phone, and they're just being polite.
That's funny.
And it can go on forever. That's a rough one.
Yeah.
So you're good. Good.
What do
So
you-
everything's good.
What do you care?
Yeah. like 5 layers of. That's right. I am good, so everything is good. Good.
My response to that, I've learned, is aggressive when I tell somebody, like, who cares? Because I'm not just saying it doesn't matter how I'm feeling. I'm saying it doesn't matter what you want to know. And that I'm finding a connection to you saying you are taken aggressively. And I want to get into the second time we met, the first time we hung out.
Oh, sure. Let's hear it, yeah.
I've told this story. I don't know what you remember. I'll add to it. I would love for you to tell this story.
Great. Well,
you know what I'm talking about, the wolf and the Wall Street game.
Villagers and werewolves. Werewolves and villagers. Yes, which is a group game played by, 15, 20 people.
A lot of people know it. It's similar to the game of Mafia.
And if you don't know that, basically there are some werewolves and there are many more villagers. And so everyone closes their eyes, and at night the werewolf eats a person. Everyone opens their eyes, and you're trying to figure out who in this village is really a werewolf, right? And it's a big game of lying and saying, no way, I'm a werewolf. And then you vote. Right, okay. So that's the game. You came over. I want to hear your version of it.
I'll start it off.
Okay.
But I don't want to color in anything that you maybe would have colored different.
I can already tell you my memory is not going to be as good as yours, but I do remember the overall, which was I was going to kill you at one point. Is that's where we're going? Okay.
So the first time we met was at a place, and how you doing? And we talked about not Zathura, was it? That's the movie you were in.
I was in a movie.
There was another. What's the movie? It doesn't matter, but I now know what it is. The Alien movie, the prequel to Aliens.
There's a prequel to Aliens. Yeah. Oh. Starts with a Z?
It starts with. You commented on the name. Oh, it was Prometheus. So you commented on the name,
and then I probably compared it to how bad the name of my movie was.
You just said that. You said that, like, this doesn't make me want to see it. And then I said, yeah. And then what I felt was you thought, hey, this guy's not half bad. So then I thought,
likely.
That's right. And then I got out and I went to the pool and
and took the yes, and you left.
So then Jackie Tone.
We love Jackie Tone.
We have to establish, I feel we just said Jackie before.
Yeah, so Jackie is a longtime friend of Kristen and I's, longer of Kristen, and we both adore her. And all 3 of us adore her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jackie brought me over to yours and Kristen's place. And I didn't have the best self-awareness in that moment, but I had enough to recognize, and whether this is my awareness or her hinting, we're going to my friend's house. Not your friend's house.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
At least I'm remembering it this way.
Right. Did she give you any warning about me specifically?
I don't know.
Because it would be appropriate for her to do that.
Probably.
Yes, because let me just own my own imperfections, which is I don't love dudes at my house. Like, Kristen can have a million girlfriends come over, and not even in a pervy way. It's just when you bring a new man into the house, I have bad primate hardwiring where I'm like, we got to establish now who, if there's something breaks out, who's the leader of this group.
I know.
Yeah. And that's terrible of me. But and I don't even want to be a part of it. So to me, the best option is just don't even bring dudes over, and I don't have to go through that whole thing.
Sure.
Okay. So that's just where I'm owning what situation you walked into.
Yeah. But you can't keep an alcoholic away from beer.
And Jackie, again, I love her. She's had several boyfriends over the years. So I've had to meet several dudes.
Sure.
It's not my favorite thing. And then it's like, I hope she picked a good one because the guy's probably going to be around a lot. So there's a deep evaluation because I'm like, he's going to be around. So I got to figure out what this guy... Okay, I've said enough excuses for myself. Continue.
So I'm going into a situation where you're either validating or hoping to break patterns that I didn't even know existed.
Okay, really, and just let me just say, many stepdads. So there's a period in my life where uncontrollably, out of my control, a new man walked into the house, and now we did his plan.
Makes perfect sense.
And I'm like, never again. Never again. Never forget, never again.
And now here comes Jackie with another guy, another stepdad.
And fuck, this guy's my height. Okay, all right, that's something to think about.
So
he's physically fit.
I wasn't better. I was in pretty good shape.
You were in great shape.
So, thank you. We'll put up a picture.
You have a lot of great body pics on your Instagram. I regularly am seeing your thing. I'm like, God, you have this great thing. I envy it in actors when I watch. It's like Brad Pitt. When you see Brad Pitt in clothes, you're like, I don't know, he looks like a normal guy. Then he takes out in the leanness, in the striations of the muscles, they're popping.
Okay, awesome.
I love it. And so often in yours, like I think you didn't you run the course at...
Actor Rick Glassman from NBC's Undateable was confident before tackling the course.
You know what it is?
Good luck tonight. Oh, thanks. Luck is for the birds, dude. I don't need luck. I just need... Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, you're right. Because you never know what could happen. I remember on American Ninja Warrior, you commented on my shoulders.
Yeah, shoulders were off the charts. Great. I mean, boom, boom.
Thank you.
Sharp lines. If I was drawing it, boom, boom. So, yes, I've always been impressed when that top comes off. I'm like, wow, Ricky's got a lot of things happening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. And you and I both think about that way more than anyone else thinks about it, right?
You don't understand. Not only do I know that about you, I'm watching you in shirt-off scenes on Parenthood and wondering what your prep was for it.
Okay, sure.
You look
'Cause
fantastic.
You knew there was some. Well, intermittently, there was some seasons, like when Kristen got pregnant with Lincoln, I just unknowingly threw on 20 pounds and didn't even realize it, as many guys do.
Your default, though, is you have a better base than I do. My default is wiry. Your default is like, this guy could beat me up. This guy will beat me up.
I think you're underestimating how you look in those photos with your shirt off.
That's me working hard for it.
Okay.
And that's the best version of it,
Very
which
lean.
is like, you have to take your shirt off to even see anything.
To me, it's very. You're not old enough to have seen this, but Urban Cowboy. There's an actor in that, the bad guy in that movie, Scott Glenn, and his thing was yours. He was. Now when I look at it, I'm like, oh, he wasn't as. I would have thought the guy was 200 pounds of muscle when I was a kid, but really he just was veins, real cut, lean, and I was like, oh, he is very strong. And I'm putting you in the Scott Glenn category.
Yeah, I compare it to. I'm not joking when I say this. He's a little stronger, but I have LeBron's body and natural ability of my version of it.
Right. That doesn't shock me.
Quick
That's
first
who.
step.
But let me just tell you, LeBron is much bulkier than
Yeah,
me.
he's training in the NBA.
Yeah, but he carries. You're more of a Kevin Garnett.
I'm going to cut you off. It's LeBron. Trust
Okay.
me. We grew up in the same area.
Okay.
It's what it is.
Okay, it is
So,
what it is.
I go over to your house
Yeah.
and we're playing this game. I have this thing about me, which is, I guess I'm now getting self-conscious about my need to qualify, and I'm not going to.
Okay.
Okay.
I just did for 10 minutes, but
Yeah, and
yeah, it was puke worthy.
No, I'm just joking. But basically, I've been praised for this, and I've been say you can't do this, which is I'm the same everywhere. I
Right.
like this about me, but sometimes you have to put on pants and fix your posture and say yes, ma'am.
Sure.
There's sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah.
So it's cool when I get to Rick is unaffected, but it's also not cool. Like I've said this before through Jackie. I've learned you can't gamble with other people's money, and what's the difference? So.
Well, there's two things that are true at one time, which is, yes, ideally you can be yourself everywhere you go. That seems like a virtuous pursuit. Number two is you should ease yourself into a social group you're not a part of, because we're social animals, and no one likes someone that, doesn't
I never knew that.
adhere or acknowledge that this is a group that exists and I'm going to find my way in.
I've talked about this with you and on a podcast that I was kicked out of a basketball game with my old boss, Bill.
Right.
And this is the inciting incident to me getting my autism diagnosis.
Yes.
And in it, he said, I feel like you just don't know how people receive you. And that was a big realization for me.
Aha moment.
But one of the things he had mentioned in there that was more about basketball, which is talking about himself. He goes, I'm in a couple of games, and when I go to a new game, I sometimes pass more than I want to, and because I have to ease my way in.
Yes.
And it's like, to me, that it makes sense now, but it's counterintuitive to at least the idea of self that I love, which is authenticity. And who gives a shit? I'm talking so much. I'm getting
No, it's great. I'm going to suggest one thing. The only thing I would say is there is one deeper thing about you showing up to the basketball game and not passing. I think you and I both share a lie we tell ourselves, which is, if I'm great at something, people will like me. And that's a really aired way of thinking.
That
people
changed you told me this.
People don't like people that are great.
No.
It's actually not attractive in real life.
You've told me this 2 times, and I've said this many times. You've given me many calibrated life lessons for me.
Oh, that makes me really happy.
One of which, and I'm just trying to tighten it. By trying to tighten it, I'm talking even more.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. I called you. It was about something with work, and 5 of the 7 castmates were going to New York for the upfronts. I wasn't going. My boss invited me. If you fly yourself out there, I'll put you in a hotel. You'll come to all the parties. I wanted to experience this, but I also felt uncomfortable showing up to something that I didn't belong.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I called you, and the main thing that you said to me that I got out of it was, don't raise your hand for anything. And your job is to show up and to be liked. And that's, to do your job, but really just to be liked, because people, as talented as people are, people want to work with people that And this is bigger than working. This is having them over for a game night.
Yeah.
That they enjoy being around.
Well, I tell my daughter all the time, it was a message I needed to hear, which is I say, hey, let everyone brag for you. It'll happen. You're great at riding a motorcycle. You don't ever need to say it. I'll say it for you. Your mom will say it for you. People will say it for you. It's so simple, and it doesn't mean that the motivation is still super selfish, but it's more about, great, so we all want approval and we want to be adored and all that. What's the best method to be adored? And unfortunately, it's not shouting your attributes out to everyone.
It was the first time I understood the concept of the narratives that we built, was when you talked to me about that with your driving and you doing all your stunts. And they liked me because I could do a whatever move on this car.
Yeah, literally, I had a moment where I thought, if I asked friends of mine to list the top 5 reasons they're friends with me, I was certain great driver would be on everyone's top 5. And then I just had this moment of clarity where I was like, no one in the world cares about great driving but me, or the other people that are super into driving, none of which are my friends. Yeah, I was like, oh, I am so delusional. And I have a lot of things like that I will fight. No one likes that about me.
Since then, I've checked myself multiple times with it.
Yeah.
Why does this matter?
Oh, it's so embarrassing when you actually can acknowledge to yourself this thing you thought was awesome about yourself that everyone loves, and it's so off base.
I have since been able to say, because sometimes basketball has obviously come up many times on this podcast.
Yes.
And I've been able to say publicly to myself as well that there's a pretty good chance that I was never as good as I think I was.
Right.
You know?
Right. And most certainly, there had to have been someone in your school or in your life that they were a great basketball player. Everyone liked them. They probably had a bunch of other characteristics that you're totally undervaluing. And then we locked onto this thing. So for me, I think like Burt Reynolds was the coolest motherfucker on the planet when I was a kid. He was the star of Smokey and the Bandit. And the only discernible skill he has in the movie is he drives well. And then Sally Field falls in love with him over it. The snowman loves him. You know, I think I really connected some dots there that were unrealistic. It was the biggest, second biggest movie of that year. So clearly America loves great drivers.
They do. I see a movie with great driving. I'm like, we got to see this again.
Absolutely.
So since you told me that's your narrative and it's important to you and you recognize it, but it still isn't a truth.
Yeah.
I've talked about you on numerous podcasts. I talk about how fantastic you are.
Thank
and I
you.
say, and it's true, but I say this because of what you told me. I say, by the way, great driver.
I love it. And I'm glad you're fueling it enough that I can keep it going. It's kind of residually. Okay,
so I go to your house.
You go to the party.
And I meet you guys. And there is this idea of celebrity that I don't understand.
At that point, you've not really been around many celebrities, right? Because you're not on the show yet. You're not hanging out with Bill yet at that point.
Correct.
Right. So minimal, like you're at the Comedy Store or whatever, and you see
I'm at the Comedy
some
Store. I
famous
saw Ben
comics.
Stein in Beverly Hills once.
Great.
And lost my mind.
Sure.
But my understanding in that moment was there is something to recognize about celebrity. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I did know that this is cool, but I also didn't know, do I admit that? Do I hide it?
Right.
And what I end up doing, which is my default, and it's me over communicating now, the only thing that I can do is just, this is what it is. This is cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but also it's like, who gives a shit?
Do you do the thing? Because I am often around people vastly more famous than we are. And I kind of go like, my main thing is like, don't ask them the question that everyone asks them. Like, just don't force them to have a repetitive experience. So I'm trying to imagine like what people around certain people are endlessly fascinated about, probably asking them about. And I just think like the only thing I want to avoid is being like the 11,000th interaction that's identical.
Sure.
So,
I don't think about that, but I understand.
Yeah. So I too am completely susceptible to it, and it's on my mind.
At this point meaning where I am now, it's less about celebrity and more about it's fandom. For example, I've had people on this podcast so far that are like really cool and big, and I'm nervous when you're coming over.
Oh, really?
And out of anybody that I've had on there that's considered at least a little big or more, I think they're my friends. They think I'm their acquaintance. I'm aware of that. I know, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
relatively speaking, with Blake Griffin and you, you're my friend.
Right.
You know
yes,
what I mean?
for sure.
And
We are friends.
I'm nervous for you to come over.
But is it okay? So it could be like three different things, and maybe it's a combination of things. So one is I have a podcast, and it's a successful podcast,
Right.
So are you thinking like I'm going to be evaluating how you're doing as a podcaster?
Not consciously, that wasn't it.
Okay, and then maybe the other thing is like when we talk, like I just did, where I said. Oh, also, you might have convinced yourself people love great basketball players. Like it is our relationship that I will, if I think you've blown past maybe a part of it, I will ask you to look at it.
But could you say that differently?
Yeah. So you said, I fancied myself a great basketball player, and I went to Bill's game, and he said you should pass more, and I was saying in that moment. You weren't passing more because you thought if you scored a ton, everyone would like you.
Right.
So I was pointing out that there's more to that story. And that's the nature of our friendship, is that I'm going to like challenge you on certain assumptions you have, and you're going to challenge me. And you think maybe,
that's what I'm attracted to. There's no downside to that.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that doesn't make you nervous. It's not like you're like, I have a whole thing here on this podcast, and now he's going to come in and he might start trying to.
No, that's why when I was talking to my mom beforehand, right before you got here, and I regret not making the intro for this, and saying, I'm a little nervous. Like I haven't really been nervous like this. And she said, well, and she gave me reasons why. And you think he's so great, he's your man crush. And I said, at this point, you don't have to even say man. I don't have another crush. You know what I mean? So the reason that I have a crush on you is that. Like, that's what I need in somebody.
Right,
like,
right.
There's, a lot of times alphas could bang heads. At least my perception of our relationship is it's there's no downside to it.
No.
There's no, and maybe it's because I see you here and I'm here, so there's no comparison and I'm not competitive with you.
Right.
But no.
Well, I can tell you in my own experience on my podcast, I got very nervous to interview Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Because I know there's an amazing episode sitting there.
That's what it is.
And I'm like, man, if I fuck up something that's guaranteed, there's an amazing one of our best.
It was a great episode.
See, and I felt, personally, I was very critical of it on my end. I was like, okay, there's two outcomes that are great for me. One is he's hysterical, or one is we hear him dive into his own mental observations in a way we've never heard.
Right.
And we hear him tell us the recipe that ended up being him. Now, neither of those two things happened in a way that they have happened in other episodes.
Okay.
So I was like, well, I guess I failed because it was neither of the two things I hoped it could be. But I underestimated. So I trust Nate. Nate happened to, my best friend Nate, he happened to listen to it. And he's like, I just loved hearing Will Ferrell be so even-tempered and there was no bit really and blah, blah, blah. So he got something out of it that was great. But I was very nervous. And when it was over, I was like, I fucked up a really great opportunity.
One of the things I liked the most that happened from the beginning was I am Dax right now. He's the king.
Yep, he's the king.
And
undisputed.
And when I say I'm talking about you because you were the same exact way. I know he's the king. He's coming over to my place. This is what drama.
You're right. So now all of it logically. Now here's where I have autism. All of it logically makes sense what you just laid out. But I actually can't cling on to the emotion of feeling about me the way I feel about Will Ferrell. That to me is where it breaks down.
You mean you're not as good as Will?
Or I can't even imagine someone thinking that they're in a dynamic whereby I would be the Will Ferrell in the equation. That seems impossible.
I'm in love with you more than I am Will Ferrell. You'll never be. That will never happen.
This is great.
You are the best Scottie Pippen in the world, and that's what you should be. And they don't win championships without him. No. But while Will is on this planet, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a different species.
Yeah,
but it's a different species with the dynamic of what Will does in broad comedy.
I hope you title this episode how do I phrase this? The episode that we almost talk about the party.
Well, what I would
maybe they'll be like. 3-part series where
That's what I would love.
Okay,
I would love if
eventually-
we don't get to it and we have to finish a story, so we'll come on your podcast to talk
this
about
has
it.
been like the prequel to the story, basically, and maybe the whole episode will be the story. But
No, we gotta talk about
yeah,
it.
Yeah, so you come over, and there's some light mixing, just casual conversation, and then this game takes off, right?
Yeah.
But is there things that I've forgotten in the light, like just getting to know each other before the game kicks off?
Not that I remember.
Okay, all the memorable stuff happens in the game.
Yeah.
Same for me. That's why I was nervous that maybe I'd lost. Some
I
of it.
don't remember where this happened because in my relationship with Jackie, what I'm about to say happens, but it may have been after our incident. But I'm remembering it. So here's what I think was the mindset. At least I know it was Jackie's. Rick, these people are not only my friends, but they're a certain type of friend, which I think is a celebrity thing.
Yeah, sure.
That's why I was saying I don't know how to look at this. That's why I must have been told this before. Because, Jackie, what are you saying to me?
Right.
Like,
what does
do you-
that mean?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? And
How are we going to alter our behavior?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, I had seen you and stuff, and I thought you were great. Sincerely, you were great. I didn't know who you were or what you were.
It's hard to know from watching me an Employee of the Month.
Yeah, and punked. The thing that I loved about you the most why I thought, oh wow, was in Baby Mama.
Oh,
I don't remember
Carl.
There was a 45-second, minute and a half scene of you outside in the car, something with the license plates. I don't even remember what it was.
My girl rocks. My girl does not rock.
Yeah. I rewound that a few times. It's like this guy's really funny, but I didn't know what you were. You weren't my
I'm not
role
that
model
guy.
yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I go in and so we play the game, and it was taught to me, and the rules were
That was your first time playing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
the rules were from what I heard, win.
Sure.
Right? What else is there?
Also, again, back to the thing we established. If you crush this game,
You're gonna think I'm the best.
yes, whatever celebrity dynamic's happening, the winner of the game is the winner of the game.
I'm also feeling
It's
a
a
little
neutralizing-
I'm feeling a little defensive now.
Okay.
Because this celebrity thing was kind of instilled onto me.
I'm with you. Look,
Okay, you're right. I don't
And
need to
here's the
qualify
thing:
this.
like, I'll have friends point out, like, "Oh, I think so and so acts differently around you, so you don't really know them," or you know. And I'll kind of go like, I don't argue that, but what am I to do as a person? I don't feel like a celebrity. I don't wake up in the mirror and go, oh, there's a famous dude in my reflection. That doesn't happen to me. So I have people to my house. Some people are probably acting differently. There's nothing I can do with that other than just take them at face value. If I spend, my time trying to imagine whether or not I'm seeing a different side of them, what an excruciating experience for me. So I just kind of chosen, let's take whatever people are presenting with me, and that's that.
If only you could take that onto an elevator.
Like, well, I do. Like, if I can tell someone recognizes me, that becomes its own experience. And that is easier for me because I'm like, oh, they're just excited to see me. I just have to smile and say hi, and this has been a great thing. If they don't know me, the joke I make's got to be a real icebreaker that lands. I'm back to earning it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm caught in this paradigm where I'm not naive enough to pretend. This is where my wife and I will sometimes have like confusing conversations because I am aware we're famous more than she is. I don't feel famous, but I acknowledge we're famous. I know that's a reality. I know when people come to I do know when strangers come to our house, there's an elevated stakes to it, which is so bizarre. And there's nothing I can do about it other than just be hospitable to you when you come in.
Yeah.
So I'm not ignoring it, nor am I feeling
Which were
it.
you?
Wait, what?
Were you hospitable to me?
Oh, probably not.
Well, that's
Okay, go ahead.
but
I do remember fucking wanting to kill you. in
But
the
we
middle
are
the
out
game.
of time. But I loved that you came, and we'll have to do this
No!
again. Okay. So the game was
And the game requires lying. That's the premise of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It's you can't play poker
I'm not
and
a
say
fucking
look at my
wolf.
cards.
Right. You go, I'm not a wolf. If I was a wolf, I would have blank.
Yes.
And there's a lot of lying.
Right.
Yeah. And accusing other people of lying.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, even though we kind of established this, I want to repilot the idea that you're gonna like me if I'm the best, if I win, if I'm good at what I do,
Yeah.
and I'm coming in and I'm not threatened by you.
Like, you literally imagine that later that night when everyone's left, Chris and I will be laying in bed and I'll be like, Rick, I was so good at Warriors and Villages, huh? He really knows how to play. Can you believe that was his first time playing?
Yeah, we should put him in something.
Why does this guy have his own show?
Why isn't he made it yet? And then you would tell Jackie, and then Jackie.
Yeah, I
would be
love
like-
your new boyfriend. He's incredible at Werewolves and Villagers.
So, and I do now realize I may have been wrong, but I'm sure that this is the case. It's that idea of watch this, you know?
Yeah.
So we sleep, I'm a wolf, and then we wake up, and then, you know, everyone gives their little story, you know, why do you think so-and-so and so-and-so, so-and-so? And I kind of slow played because I wasn't asked of, like, I'm not sure, like, I didn't know if I'm allowed to talk and how this works, and I was waiting for you to, no, go ahead. So now you locked in on me. You gave me the floor. And I said, I don't know the rules well enough, so again, I apologize if I'm doing this wrong.
You said like I saw someone's
Yeah,
card
I saw
or
something.
right?
I said it was before. It was either before you told us to close our eyes or after you told us to open. Whatever it was, I made it like I didn't cheat. And I did see Jackie, and I'm sorry. I did see. I don't like. Am I not supposed to say something like this is the game? And she's like, no, I didn't. And then you locked into me, and the eye contact was we were fucking at this point, okay? And you were like making sure that like here's where I'm gonna decide if I trust you or I don't, Rick. Did this happen? And I mean, it did. I saw her do that. I don't know. Like we could scratch it from the records if this is a breach of whatever.
See, now I still don't know whether it was your tactic or reality.
Right. It was. She didn't. I didn't see anything.
Okay, great. So it was
she
a
was not a
tactic.
wolf. I was.
Yeah.
And then you said, if it's not, I want you to know that that'll never work now for the rest of this because I'm never going to believe you. I said, then please try me.
Yes.
So now you knew that. Okay, because he wouldn't sacrifice. You know, me never playing this game again. I'm a celebrity,
Right.
So and I knew
that's
that,
what I thought.
and I knew that you knew that. So then it happened, and then you guys killed her, and or whatever it was out, or blah blah blah
Yeah, we
blah.
kicked her out,
and she wasn't a wolf. I don't remember how it happened, but when we found out that I played the game well.
Yes.
She was.
You were Machiavellian in your.
She was so mad at me. And you were too, in a way that I thought I understood and liked, which is, if we're playing ball and you push me, I'm going to push you back. Now we're best friends. You're making me better. I'm making you better. We get to establish dominance. If you beat me, you're better than me. I want to be around you. If I beat you, I'm better than you. I want to be around you.
Yes.
It all works out. I didn't realize that this was not a good thing. I go in the other, but I knew Jackie was mad at me, but Dax isn't. Like, we're like, he probably thinks I'm so cool now.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm in the kitchen. Jackie's upset with me, and everyone's outside. Kristen comes in
This is so preposterous.
and apologizes
For me.
big time.
Oh.
And I'm confused.
Right, because now you're starting to reevaluate whether we bonded in the way that you thought we did.
bonded.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
confused. Why don't you know what just happened, Kristen?
Right, we're on the fast track.
I won.
Right.
Dax saw me win. Okay, so she's apologizing for me. So then we leave, and Jackie's upset, and because I've upset you, and I lied, and I blah 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 blah, and I, represented her and her tastes in a way that was not her choosing.
Yeah.
And do you know, Dax loved me. And she said I had to apologize to him, and I said, well, Kristen had to apologize to me. I later found out that she was right. You didn't like it, and whether or not I was wrong, it's still up in the air.
Right. No. Well,
I didn't pass the ball
look,
enough
we're
at the beginning.
friends. We're friends, so obviously, it didn't.
But because there was rapport built after that through obligation.
Here was the position I was in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, two things. One is, and this is not a good quality of mine. When we play this game a lot, Settlers of Catan.
Yeah.
And there is this thing, a robber, which you can use.
Sorry.
So, yeah, I see red over there, looking good. A cam, B cam, C cam, great. You can use the robber, and it really fucks over somebody, right? You put this robber on their one of their resources, and now every time that number's rolled, you can't get a resource. And here's what I make really clear when we play this game. If you use that robber, cool. But just so you know, I will always put it on you because I fucking hate the robber, and I hate when people use it, and it's someone who's losing, who can't stand it and wants to hurt someone with a great strategy.
Oh, you
or
think
who's
the
good
rule,
at the game.
You think the rule sucks, but acknowledge it's a rule.
It's like I'm the shittiest player in the world, but I can
Okay.
fuck up the best player in the world. That drives me nuts. There's a sense of injustice there, right? So this is where I am a self-appointed sheriff of all situations, and I will now punish anyone. It's like trying to punish someone at a poker table who bluffs. It's like if I see them bluff twice, I'm like, all right, I'm going to make you honest. This is just my problem. It's not yours. You have nothing to do with it. The other problem that probably is you and I needed to work out, which is I'm trying to evaluate, is this the kind of guy that thinks he's Andy Kaufman and...
You're trying to evaluate. Why would you try to evaluate that? You don't know me at all. Did you pick up on something like that?
That's what I'm trying to evaluate. Is this a guy who's Andy Kaufman and that his bit, he'll be happy if his bit makes everyone here uncomfortable? That's a fine comedy persona for a human to have. I think Andy Kaufman was a genius. I don't want an Andy Kaufman at my house. For that person's comedy to work, we all have to feel uncomfortable and awkward. It's not for me. Go somewhere else. I'll go see it on stage, but if you can't hit pause and be normal, I just don't want to be around it. I don't want to be the butt of your fucking life art installation. So it took me a while to figure out if you were being Andy Kaufman or if you were missing some social cues. And I was relieved to find out you're missing some social cues. That I can work with and I'm sympathetic to and empathetic. But if I'm just the canvas where you're doing your art, I don't need to be the canvas.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
I mean, that's a microcosm of the miscommunications in my life where I'm thinking, this is hysterical. We all know what's happening.
And it's confusing because you're a comedian.
Yeah.
So it is very plausible that, like, you know, I interviewed, I fucking adored him. You'll cut out the pause where I remember his name. Adam Pally. Adam Pally.
I listened to that one.
Loves to bomb.
Yeah.
And I get it. And it's awesome. It's such a unique thing. I'm very interested in it. And I'm such an approval junkie. I can't do that.
Right.
That's not what I like doing. So I admire the bravado of it and the confidence and yet I don't want him to bomb at my real life house.
Well, it's really this bombing. People that love bombing, I'm one of those people.
Yes, you
people that
kinda like
love
it
that.
too,
It's
right?
the same thing as you wanting the approval. Nobody wants to bomb if nobody gets it.
Right.
For an example, I did this HBO Canada taping.
This gentleman you may recognize from NBC's Undateable. So please do.
Jesus Christ, I fucked up. I have an intro I want you to do. Sorry.
You want me to do this intro? Okay. Yeah. This is unorthodox. It's for real? Okay. I don't know what the fuck is going on, honestly. That is going to be what's happening? My grandfather wasn't just a hotel owner. What are you fucking doing?
Don't start my time yet. I gave you the wrong. I just keep them together.
Okay. You keep what together? You want to read this one?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are in for a real treat. Please put your hands together for Ron Gladish. All right.
It's Rick Glassman. That is my mistake. I did my set not for the audience there, but for the audience watching this on YouTube or on HBO Canada, right?
Right.
I am often wrong, but I see the world as imagine if you're here and I grab your dick and I go, nice dick, you dick guy, or whatever. It's like,
yeah,
what the fuck is this guy doing? That's not funny because I said that. That's funny because imagine if Dax comes to this guy's house in Studio City and he grabs his dick.
Right.
Horrible example.
But I got you.
So when Adam is bombing on something, he believes, and I agree with him, that there is his fan base that watches that and understands his skill set of controlling energy.
Yep.
If I come into your house and I bomb and you're not in on it, we're not filming this.
Well, that's kind of my point. It makes total sense when defining a niche career.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm going to make 10 people laugh at the expense of 100, but those 10 people and I, now we know we all have the same sense of humor and we find each other and that's great. But a party is not that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So,
but we
weren't
have
sure.
friends in comedy who will do that. Like, it's worth it to them to make 3 people at a party laugh while 18 hate it.
It's a fine line to dance because what does making them uncomfortable mean? Are they uncomfortable, but then that is satisfied once the curtain is revealed or pulled back? Or is it now you've affected them for the evening?
But the very simple solution to that is you get into a group of people, you establish some kind of goodwill,
and
trust. And I like Ricky, and I know Ricky's coming from a great place.
Yes.
So now all the shit's really funny because Jess is the same way. Our friend Jess.
I know Jess.
Yeah, he's very provocative, and he'll risk alienating a big chunk to satisfy.
Which all comes from a defense of that's where I could control how people. You're not going to like me anyway, so let me at least control it.
Yes, which I have done countless times.
Yeah,
people do.
I definitely didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I wanted you to want to have me over even if Jackie was busy.
Well, so I needed someone. So my breakthrough was Jon Favreau. I think one time I found the courage to say, I'm afraid that I've had these 3 movies fail, that you won't want to be around me, or that I'm a loser. And he goes, are you kidding? I'm inclined to like you more if your shit fails. Because then mine, by comparison's working even better. Like it's the opposite. I wouldn't want you to like fly past me and then think you're doing me a favor by hanging. And I was just like, for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much more sense. If you're Pittman, you don't want to play next to fucking Michael Jordan all the time. You want to feel good. You want to down compare, not up compare. And all people feel better down comparing than up comparing. So, and I was just like, oh my God, that's totally right.
That's interesting. I'm going to sit on that later.
Okay.
But I want to be around people better than me. It makes me it makes almost, not in like this idea of like, how can I be my best self? More of an idea of like, I belong with this.
No. Okay. So being around people versus comparing yourself to people. Like, sure. I want to be in a scene with Will Ferrell and watch him do this magical thing he does.
Right.
But I don't know that it's going to be healthy for me if I'm aspiring to be him
If
and
you
I'm
remade
constantly
Fletch.
around him. Yeah, and then I remade.
But if you remake, like if they're comparing you, he's not Chevy Chase or something.
Yes. Yeah. Why even put yourself in that situation?
Yeah.
Or just even more accurately, like, I don't understand people who would be broke and hang out with all billionaires. Like, it already sucks being broke. You feel broke, but you really feel broke if you're around a bunch of billionaires. I just don't feel great. It makes me overly aware of my deficits.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, quite often people they'd like me more if I was failing than winning.
Oh, I think that you're winning all the time, and I think that's the most attractive quality.
Then I'm a great
you're
driver.
a cool driver. I think you're tall. I'm tall. I think you're tall. I think you're in good shape.
I got to take you for a motorcycle ride, really. Push this thing over the edge.
I've done it once.
Fuck! I have no business being up here right now. No fucking business. Why is it going backwards? Holy shit. Sorry, guys. I'm bad at this. Fuck, this is so frustrating. Come on, dork. Should we try it that way? Let's pick up the speed, boys! Okay. Oh, I'm in spikes. Ah, fuck. I popped the wheelie though, right? Dude, hey. Faster wheelie. You popped. You were like... Woo! Oh, shit. Is it recording still?
And I went with this group of people, some of which had their own dirt bikes. Everybody has done this.
Right.
And they're going on their thing. Well, I'm an extra 45 minutes learning in circles and stopping. And
Sure.
as you know, the same instincts of riding a bike are different. The brake's not on the handle, it's on the foot. And just, if I want to stop quick on a bike, I could always cut the cord. But with this, I have to, where am I supposed to put my foot? So
Yes.
it's scary.
And then quite often as you panic, you tighten your hands and you actually will roll
Rev
on
it
some
up.
throttle.
Yeah, the whole thing is just, I'm
Yeah.
going into another country and I'm speaking their language and I know a couple of words,
Yeah.
but if you say the wrong thing, you're going to get punched. That's how
right.
it feels.
It's going to be very violent.
So, but that's fine if I'm out in a park by myself. But if I'm out on a route that is like, I'm going into a bar where everyone's looking for a fight. We went on this am I saying it right?
Little
Route?
trail, yeah.
Trail, whatever. Where it got to a point, and everyone's ahead of me, or there's a couple, just we're all by ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, you could see some people maybe. And it gets to a point where I'm on a mountain ridge where I'm not exaggerating, it's
A foot or two wide.
2 feet.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You can't stop because I don't know how to stop.
Uh-huh.
And
there's no way to put your foot down.
The only thing I could do is just
Commit.
go.
Uh-huh.
And it was probably like 30 seconds of this thing where, why did you let, I can't do, why am I here?
Uh-huh.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
So I thought,
But you made it up? You didn't crash?
I made it. Here I am.
I've been in the exact same situation. And it's interesting when your only option is to commit to something, how it does work out.
Well, yeah, the adrenaline kicks in and you're able to do it.
Yeah, but it's almost like there's probably some great self-helpy principle there, which is like if you rule out all other options, maybe it gets easier to do.
Will Smith, says take the jump when he literally did it. Like, fear is the anticipation of it. But also, I don't have a bungee attached to me, and this is a mountain.
Yeah, we love him, right?
He's Will Ferrell, I say, is king, and I don't take that away.
Yeah.
But who's the one person? It's Will Smith.
He's kind of like the female Oprah. And I'm not saying that because, I'm sorry, he's the male Oprah.
Right.
And I'm not saying that because they're both black. I don't think that's why.
Oh, then I don't get it.
He seems to have some weird spiritual purity and happiness and joy that I covet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like he is in a great mood all the time.
Fresh Prince and The Simpsons are what made me, I believe, my comedy and the way I perform it what it is.
Okay.
Simpsons, just the deconstruction and the jokes. Yeah. And Fresh Prince was the first time that I saw, because I was always weird, that this was the first time you could have a silly guy that's also cool. They're not mutually exclusive.
Right.
And I wanted to be that.
Yeah.
And I have succeedid. And look at me now. I am Will Smith.
Silly and cool. It makes your compliment about my acting in Parenthood now valid.
I underdid it so you would feel that way. And here it comes again. Dax, you're so... This is a crazy statement.
Okay.
In this show, from seeing this now, you're one of the best actors I've ever seen. You're so present. I'm going to cry. I'm actually... Because it's more than acting.
This.
It's just me, like, how I feel about you. But part of what's so beautiful about you is what you've overcome and your awareness of the patterns that you've had and what that meant, why you did, why you shouldn't. You've talked to enough people to hear their stories and connect with it. You're so connected and present, right? That's just who you are.
Okay.
Now we are in a show where somebody gives you a script and there's other people talking and there's a story that you might not be passionate about and you're acting.
Yeah.
And I mean this in a good way, not that you are playing Dax in it, but it's the same thing. I'm watching you there. You're listening. There's moments with your brother where when he says when you're taking the picture of the two of you off the wall when you're closing the luncheonette, and he says you could put it back on and you don't want to leave it, and the moment you had the realization of like, what are you saying to me? Like and I don't think it was an accident that on a few of his lines, and I rewind all the time with you, a few of his the coverage is on you responding to him. It's just it's perfect.
Oh, thank you.
You're so, and I've not written texts, but I pulled up Dax and then I don't, because even though we're friends, and thank you, I do this for you, not for me. You're my brother as far as I'm concerned. You can't, if you look at the text, you can't have too many.
Right,
of yours.
sure.
So it's like, just relax, buddy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But just
I'm in the very same dynamic with several people, so I'm with you.
Yeah, so you get it.
Absolutely, 100%. First of all, thank you so much. There are some semi-relevant parts to that, which is one, and I imagine you can relate to this. At the first part of my career was like, I got to do characters, and I think really when I drill down into why, I was telling myself, well, I want to be like Will Ferrell or any of these people, Chevy Chase, whoever I looked up to growing up. Oh, that's the kind of career I want. But I do think underpinning that was I had the same fear most people have, which is there's no way I'm interesting enough to just be the subject of anything. So I've got to inflate all these things, and I got to have an accent, and I got to have all these things, because I myself am not worthy of watching for 45 minutes. And I got lucky in that I did a movie just before Parenthood started called The Freebie, which was entirely improv. And I could improv a whole movie as Frito, but it'd be one note. It would just be, I'm dumb, and that's pretty much it. But for me to play this woman's husband and go on this journey, I was like, I gotta improv in my voice. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like I won't be able to round out some fake character enough and then improv a whole story.
You have a life of instincts in Dax, so use them.
Right. So that was the first time I was just like, well, I'm going to talk as if it's just me. Yeah. And then that weirdly came out good, and people liked it enough that I was like, I'll never forget. I read this interview with Nicolas Cage talking about filming Face Off with Travolta.
The more I became aware that there was something in this character that could be brand new. The concept itself is new. It's an extreme situation, and I like extreme situations, so there was a lot of material there for me to explore.
And Nicolas Cage said, that's the first time in my life I realized as an actor that I am unique enough to just be in something, because I was watching Travolta, and Travolta can do an impersonation of me. I didn't even think I was unique enough to impersonate. And seeing him do me made me realize, oh, I am a thing. You know, I am unique. And so I had the nearly same experience doing the freebie, where I was like, oh, people seem to like this and I'm not doing anything. And then I immediately got Parenthood after that. So I had just found the confidence to just use my voice. Secondly, to the reaction shots part, it was very rare at that moment in television that you would be cross-covering actors. Generally on a show like that, a drama, they're going to shoot a wide shot with one camera, then they're going to shoot your side with one camera, then go tighter, and then they're going to turn around, right? So when they turn around on me so I can listen to you, I now start thinking, oh, I got to act, because I'm just sitting here listening and I got to do stuff. Whereas on that show, because you were cross-covered, it never entered your mind whether you were being filmed for your lines or for your reactions, and you kind of lost sight of it. So a big help was just that it was the least self-conscious type of filmmaking that got.
Now, did they do that because there's some improvisation on the show and they wanted to capture it?
There was tons of improv, and really the model was created on Friday Night Lights, Kadam's previous show, where, and I guess it was probably originally instigated by Pete Berg, because that's the style he liked, and he had directed the pilot. But those actors had crazy carte blanche. They didn't have marks. They had to light the entire room so that they could walk wherever they wanted, and they had to get 2 or 3 cameras going on them so they could catch it. And so, you know, Coach T in who's his wife? Do you watch Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, I loved it, but I don't know the name.
Greatest.
The redhead. I don't know her name.
Yeah. Anyways.
Girl from Taxi.
Taxi?
I was just joking forgetting a redhead's name.
She's a wonderful actor. Anywho's, they established this filming style that bore great fruit for Jason. So going into the Parenthood, he said, I want to do the same thing, where the people have freedom and we can capture moments and all that. So the show was always shot with 3 cameras. We were always shooting a wide and dueling overs, or generally that. And then we would do different sizes. So you never knew what shot was for what. And it really just liberated you.
I love that format so much.
Have you shot the pilot yet for your Kadam show?
Not yet.
No, when does that start?
We think September. I don't know yet.
September. And I imagine he'll do the same thing on your show. I hope.
He's not directing.
Well, he didn't direct he ultimately did direct some episodes, but not the first season, I don't think. Tommy Schlamme shot our pilot.
It did feel that way when we tested for it. I just felt great. And there was times where he basically said, you know, he gave a note about having a line come in sooner than something else, which messed up somebody else's line, which just, you know.
Yeah.
So how do you want this? And then that was my thought immediately before he then said, you know, and then he did that.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
When he gave me the wave of like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, so just do whatever, and then here's the script.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, what a great place to live.
Yes. It was so fun because you had to follow the story, obviously, and you had to get all the beats of the plot that you may have been responsible for, the exposition or whatnot. But you had the latitude to cement it all into your unique little vocabulary or my little sayings that I would use. And just being able to touch down on one of those things that makes me feel like me in the middle of a paragraph that maybe is about... Because there were many storylines where I just can't relate. Like, I had a baby on the show, and I couldn't connect with the baby. And I had just...
The character couldn't connect.
The character. Crosby couldn't connect.
I thought about that.
And I had the opposite experience. Like, the Lincoln came out of Kristen, and I was like, oh, like, I know why I'm on planet Earth. Like, just the opposite. So I was like... And I even said to Jason, I'm like, who has this reaction? Is this even real? Is this just convenient for TV so we have something for me to overcome? And he's like, no, but a lot of people do. And I couldn't even compute that. And so what ended up happening is I did, you know, commit to doing that. And then on Twitter, I saw a bunch of people like, I'm so glad they said this. It took me like 6 months before it clicked and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, yeah, he knows something I didn't know. I thought this was just kind of convenient for TV. But a lot of people felt that way.
What's the point that you're making on that about connecting with stuff? Because that's the opposite. Are you just sharing that?
Well, what I was going to say is I would have these speeches where I'm basically detailing how I don't connect with this kid, but I could throw in a couple things that made me feel connected to me,
right?
And it helped anchor these things I didn't believe in into things I do believe in. And they were not stuff that would fuck up the story. They were just like little touch points of reminding me who I am and how I sound when I'm trying to convince somebody of something. Or
There's a fully scripted show though, right?
oh yeah, 100%.
I had Larry Charles on here this week.
Oh, fun.
And he Curb Your Enthusiasm is
A beat sheet.
Yes, and also Curb Your Enthusiasm and The Office are my favorite shows ever.
Yeah.
As I'm sure a lot of people. But Curb is the voice, because that's the first thing I ever wrote was that web series Six Lead.
Which I thought you did a great job. I texted you immediately. I watched all of them, and I genuinely loved it.
I remember where I was in Austin doing comedy, and I was in the green room when I saw that you before you texted me, you tweeted it.
Oh.
And I mean, I could have done 5 hours after that when I got it, that you liked my thing and
Oh, I did.
publicly.
I loved it.
But point is, the first thing I wrote was I showed this to Larry Charles. I watched episodes of Curb and I broke it down and I wrote how they did their stories. There was no format. It was arrows and bubbles and where the stories dovetailed and connected and how they come back. And to me, that's what it is. So that's what I do. Obviously, I don't, but like that's the foundation of it.
Yeah.
And I got to ask him about using multiple cameras for this very reason and how I feel it's so important to have 3 cameras. And he was explaining to me sometimes it's better to have 2 so you could have, you could cover more ground, and why when you want 10, when you have to have so many people on reaction shots and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up is just because that was hearing from one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And now you're doing that on Jason Kadam's show, which I might be able to be doing.
Yeah.
It just is getting me excited.
Oh, big time. But yeah, I guess I can see what he was saying, right? Like there'd be a moment where the cameras can't do-si-do without picking
You're
up
saying
the
if there's
third
3.
camera.
Yeah.
He's
He's saying with two,
everyone can just write.
and that helps. There's less need for any blocking with the actors, and that's acting in a way where it's like you do you and then me do me, which I've done a couple of times. I haven't done that much stuff. It's a skill set that I'm sure I could get better at, but it's definitely not where I feel like there's certain things where like I'm gonna kill this.
Yes, and then the insecure part of me also is that this person that I'm acting with, once they've done their side, I think everything they're doing now is a courtesy to me, which it is. It's just at that point a courtesy because they're done being filmed.
Right.
So I'm just the like people pleaser me or the codependent. I'm like, oh God, they got to do this for me now, and I'm thinking more about that they have to go through this again. And I'm never thinking about that when it's 2 cameras. I'm like, we're both on. No one's doing anyone a favor. People will cry and they're off camera, and I just want to be like, you don't have to do that. Like, you just don't do that for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to wrap it up.
Okay.
I wanted to talk podcast stuff with you, which we forgot to do.
There's no reason we can't do this multiple times.
I would love to have you again. Also, this is a little corny, but I'm going to maybe start doing this. I got you a gift.
Oh,
that
wow.
that I'm wearing too.
Oh. Okay, great.
So I'm
take your shoes off and have a seat with an armchair expert.
Yeah, but the problem with the socks are they spread open.
It's like the old joke about welcome to Jamaica, have a good day.
I don't know that joke.
You don't know that joke?
No.
Well, I just blew the punchline. But a man gets a tattoo of his wife's name on his penis. Her name is Wendy. And he gets a boner, and they put the tattoo on Wendy. And then he goes on vacation to Jamaica, and he's at a urinal, and he looks over to the guy to the right of him, and he notices that he has a W and a Y too on his penis. And he goes, "Oh, is your girlfriend's name Wendy too?" And he goes, "No. When I get hard, it says, 'Welcome to Jamaica. Have a great day.'"
Yeah, good joke.
It's kind of similar,
yeah,
right? Because it stretches out.
It doesn't change. It doesn't say I got a bigger dick than you. When
no,
you open
no.
But yeah, so I'm experimenting with some with merchandise, and socks are what I really want because it's take your shoes off. So when I was trying, and it's direct to garment, so I can make custom stuff. So this is the first time I did it, and I don't know if I'm in love with this kind of sock. But what am I going to do? Return it? It says the thing on it.
Right, because you would have to admit you wore it to even explain your issues with it. I'm glad you got me extra large.
Yeah, I got it, same size.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
It's a really thoughtful gift, and I'll wear them.
Great.
I promise.
Sure.
I love you, Rick.
I love you too. Oh, I want to find it. Yeah, I love you too. That's our ending.
Oh, it's up to you.
Well, I want to get like a thing that I could put on Insta story for a swipe up, a 15-second thing.
Okay. My weird thought was that I was like, should we do this shirtless? But that ship sailed.
For whom?
The episode. We've already recorded it. I'll see it because I got a piece so bad with that. When I stand up, I have to sprint to your bathroom. Okay, and I just right to camera. Take your shoes off. I said I forget the name of my own show, so I had to glance down. Hi, please check out my good friend Ricky and I on his podcast, Take Your Shoes Off.
That was good.
It's great, right?
Yeah,
It's very awkward.
No, that was great. That was the one I'm using, so it's.
How tight am I? Because it would be kind of funny, too, to just be like 15 degrees off.
Why?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Take Your Shoes Off with Ricky Glassman. I'm Dax Shepard. I can't wait for you to listen to us talk.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use the first one.
Scoot doo. Blabbity blue.
All right. I love you. I'm going to pee my pants.
All right.